Hello everyone, welcome to Genesis Coaching Institute. This is Tapas Sarkar, your biology teacher. So this will be our third part of the ongoing question paper discussions of NEET paper of this year. So today we will discuss zoology. We will start on the zoology portion. Botany parts, botany questions are already solved in part 1 and part 2. So this is the third part of our video where we will discuss zoology questions. So without any delay, let's start our video. So we are solving question number T2, code T2, okay? And now it will be a section B. So question number, in section B, question number 151, start from question number 151. So what is the question? Let us see. The question is, nitrogenous waste is excreted in the form of pellet or excreted or pasted, okay? Nitrogenous waste is excreted in the form of pellet or paste by option number A, salamander, option number 2, hippocampus, option number 3, pago, option number 4, ornithorhynchus. So answer will be, you see, nitrogenous waste will be released as a, what you can say, in the pellet or paste, okay? So it will be in case of birds, okay? It will be in case of birds, means that part, maximum, for example, in mammals. In mammals, the nitrogenous waste is urea. In case of birds, it is pellets, seabirds. Okay, so in the pellet or paste it will be a pago, okay, that means pigeon. So option number 3, question number 151, answer will be option number 3. Okay, just a minute, it's I need to fix this camera. Okay, next you see question number 152, select the incorrect statement with reference to mitosis. With reference to mitosis, we need to select the incorrect statement. So what is the incorrect statement? Oh, wait a second. Okay, so what is the incorrect statement? Just a minute. Okay. So select the incorrect statement with reference to mitosis. Spindle fibers attached to centromere of chromosomes. Number 2, chromosomes. Spindle fibers attached to centromere of chromosomes. Centromere of chromosomes. So chromosomes contain what? Chromosomes contain, suppose this is a chromosome, this is a centromere, and spindle fiber will attach here, but directly it doesn't connect with the centromere. The centromere has one disc-like structure, and what is it? It is known as kinetochore. So spindle fiber will attach in the kinetochore. In statement, in option number 1, it is saying that spindle fiber attached to centromere. No, it is not attaching centromere. It will attach to kinetochore. We need to find out the incorrect statement. So option number 1 is incorrect. So directly it will be question number 152. Answer will be option number 1. Incorrect statement. Option number 2. Chromosome decottates in telophase. Absolutely correct. During telophase stage of cell division, during the telophase stage of cell division, the chromosomes from the thin fibers, chromosomes decondense. No? So after division, the chromosomes were like this in the poles. In the anaphase, they will move, no? They used to move like this. What opposite poles in anaphase? In prophase, the chromosomes are in thin fibers. Okay? They are thin fibers. From thin fibers, they start to decondense, become links in prophase. In metaphase, the chromosomes will be in the center. In prophase of the cell division, the thin chromatin fiber will condense and they will become thick and they will become chromosomes. And by metaphase, the chromosomes will be at the center. They come at the center. So this is metaphase aligned with the equator. And in anaphase, they will. In anaphase, what happens? Okay, let me show you this bigger one. Suppose in metaphase, it will be like this. No? And spindle fiber will connect from both the poles. And they will pull them towards the poles. As a result, this is the metaphase. All the chromosomes are in the center. Metaphase. In anaphase, what will happen? Due to the pulling, the chromatids were separated. So they are moving. Suppose they are moving. These are from one pole. These are from one pole. They are moving to this pole, and they are moving to this pole. 2 poles. Okay, and this is anaphase, and in telophase what will happen? In telophase, all these chromosomes they have reached their poles, respective poles. Now this is the telophase, but in the telophase But in the telophase, now this chromosome will decondense decontents, and from thick they will become thin and thread-like structures. It is on the commutative fibers, like proteins. So two nucleus are produced from one nucleus. So this is the scenario of cell division. What are the stages and what are the things that happens in different phases of cell cycle. So option 1 is correct. Option 1 is splitting of centromere occurs at anaphase. It is correct. Splitting of chromosome occurs at anaphase. Option number 4, all the chromosomes lie at the equator in anaphase. This is the anaphase. All the chromosomes lie in the equator. So option number 2 is option number 4 is also correct. Incorrect is option number 1. Question number 153. Given below two statements are clear. Osteoporosis is characterized by decreased bone mass and increased chances of fractures. This is correct. Statement number 1 is correct because osteoporosis is a disease where your bone demineralization will occur and bone mass will become thin and as a result the bone becomes weak. Then there is a higher probability of developing fractures. Option number 2, reason is given. Why? What is the reason behind all this? Common cause of osteoporosis is increased level of estrogen. Is it correct? I don't think so. In the common cause of osteoporosis, why osteoporosis occurs? Due to the calcium deficiency in the body. Because our bone needs calcium, okay, for mineralization. Then if your body has a deficient of calcium, your bone will become weak. So this is the reason. They are giving due to the increased level of estrogen, osteoporosis occurs. This is wrong. So assertion is correct. Then in osteoporosis, bone mass will decrease and there is an increased chance of fracture. It is correct, but reason is wrong. So answer will be option number 2. 153 option number 2. Question number 154. Under normal physiological conditions in human being, every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver how much ml of oxygen to the tissues? 100 ml of blood carries how much oxygen? Blood. Who will carry oxygen? Hemoglobin. So hemoglobin in 100 ml of blood carry how much of oxygen? It is 5 ml. It is given very nicely in the Renzen book. So option number 1 5 ml, option number 2 4 ml, option number 3 10 ml, option number 4 2 ml. The answer will be 5 ml. Option number 1. Now question number 155. A dehydration reaction links two glucose molecules to produce maltose. Okay. A dehydration reaction links two glucose molecules to produce maltose. If the formula for glucose is this much, then what is the formula of maltose? Wait a second. Suppose we know that maltose is a disaccharide and these two are the glucose. 2 units of glucose will combine to form what? To form maltose. Suppose this is the maltose. Okay? So dehydration reaction links two glucose will combine and two glucose monomer will combine and maltose will be formed, and in this reaction one water will come out. In this reaction one water will come out like peptide bond formation. So one water will move. So this is a dehydration reaction. Water is going dehydrated. So okay, what are they saying? If the formula of glucose, what is the formula of glucose? Formula of glucose is C6H12O6. So one glucose is this much formula. There are 2 units of glucose. So it will be 2 units. Then it will be C12H24O12. Okay. So this will be the formula of maltose, no? Then what is that? Okay. So 2 glucose you mean it should be this one. But you see in this reaction when the 2 glucose will combine, one water will go from their side. It will go from where? It will go from their structures only, no? Glucose. Whatever the thing is available in the glucose. So you need to remove 2 hydrogen, then it will become C12H because water 2 hydrogen H22 and O11. So this one will be the formula of maltose. 2 glucose unit, 1 glucose unit this is the chemical formula. So 2 glucose unit will be this one, but 1 water due to the dehydration of 1 water molecule, the formula of the maltose will become this one. So option number 2 is the correct answer. Now question number 156. In which of the following animals digestive tract has additional chambers like crop and gizzard. Like in cockroach, we have discussed now. In cockroach and insects, they have a crop and gizzard. Their alimentary canal has crop and gizzard, where the grinding of the food will occur. So among the following options, which will have crop and gizzard? Number 1, buffo. Buffo means frog. Benenoptera and Bangaras. Option number 2, Katla, Columba. Columba means pigeon. Katla is a fish. Crocodile means crocodile. Option number 3, Pavo, Testicula, Corvus. So Pavo means pigeon, scientific name. Testicula means parrot. Corvus means crow. Corvus scientific. All these are scientific names. Corvus is a scientific name of crow. Psittacula is the scientific name of parrot. Pavo is the scientific name of pigeon. So in birds we find extra chambers like crop and gizzard. So answer will be option number 3, Pavo, Psittacula and Corvus. So 156 will be option number 3. Question number 157. Two statements are given. Statement 1 is statement 2. The release in statement 1 says the release of sperms into the seminiferous tubules is called spermiation. Are you getting my point? The release of sperms into the seminiferous tubules is spermiation. Number 2, spermiogenesis is the process of formation of sperms. Formation of sperms from spermatogonia. Spermiogenesis is the process of formation of sperms from spermatogonia. Okay, and option statement 1. The release of sperms into the seminiferous tubules is called spermiation. Yes, it is correct. Statement 1 is correct. The release of sperms, because you see in the seminiferous tubule, testicular lobe means in the testis there is a testicular lobules, and the testicular lobules to the seminiferous tubules, and in the seminiferous tubules will appear like this. It has many cells. In the boundary there is the spermatogonia. In between them, these are the Sertoli cells, you can say. These are the Sertoli cells. And in the middle, there will be sperms or spermatozoa. This is the spermatogonia. This is the Sertoli cell which will provide nourishment. And this one, barrier, acting as a barrier, it is known as an interstitial cell. Look like cell, interstitial cell, which will produce a testosterone, that is a male sex hormone androgens. Okay. So what the release of sperms? So after the formation of the sperms, this is what? This is the seminiferous tubule. This is the seminiferous tubule. This is the spermatogonia. This is the sperm mother cell. Spermatogonia will become sperms. Who will help? Sertoli cell. So from here, the sperm formation. From here, it will be released. From here, after the formation of the sperm, it will be released. So this process is known as spermation. Yes, it is correct. And spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis is the process of formation of sperms from spermatogonia. No, it is not spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis is when the spermatids, after the formation of the spermatids here, they will, for nutrition, they will go to the Sertoli cells. For nutrition, they will go to the Sertoli cells. And after getting nutrition, they will come out from the Sertoli cells. There is a mature and functional sperm. You see, these are not mature. These are not functional. Okay, they will become functional after getting nourishment from the Sertoli cell. So this process is not known as spermiogenesis. Are you getting my point? So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is incorrect. Option number 2. Question number 157. Answer will be option number 2. Now question number 158. Natural selection, where more individuals acquire specific characters, natural selection where more individuals acquire specific character. More individuals are acquiring specific character, not general character. They are acquiring some unique characters. Other than the mean character or the average value leads to what? Disruptive change, random change, stabilizing change. It is not stabilizing change. Because when the changes is occurring, but that changes, for me it is unique. I have developed some different character. That one has developed different character. That one has developed different character. All the individuals are developing different character. It will lead to what? I will become different species. He will become different species. Because we are developing unique characters. So it will be a directional change. Are you getting my point? The answer will be option number 1. 158. Option number 1. Question number 159. Which of the following statements with respect to endoplasmic reticulum is incorrect? Endoplasmic reticulum is incorrect. We need to find out the incorrect statement about endoplasmic reticulum. Option number 1. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is devoid of ribosomes. Yes, it is correct. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is 2 parts, no? Endoplasmic reticulum is two parts. So this is a rough endoplasmic reticulum where ribosomes will be there. Where you will find ribosomes, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum there will be no ribosomes. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum produces what? Lipids. Rough endoplasmic reticulum will produce what? Will produce proteins. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum there is no ribosomes. They produce proteins. What are the saying statement number 1? Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is devoid of ribosomes. Yes, it is correct. We need to find out the incorrect statement. So option number 1 is correct. Option number 2. In prokaryotes only rough endoplasmic reticulum are present. In prokaryotes only rough endoplasmic reticulum is present. Okay, let me see. Question number 3. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum are the site of lipid synthesis. You see, smooth endoplasmic reticulum produces lipids. So option number 3 is correct. Option number 4. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosome attached to endoplasmic reticulum. Yes, in rough endoplasmic reticulum ribosomes are attached. So this is also correct. So wrong is option number 2. That is, in prokaryotes only rough endoplasmic reticulum are present. No, prokaryotes also contain rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Incorrect statement is option number 2. 159, option number 2. Now 160. Which of the following is present between the adjacent bones of vertebral column? This is our vertebral column. So our in between the very easy, in between vertebral column what is present? Option number 1, cartilage. Option number 2, areolar tissue. Option number 3, smooth muscle. Option number 4, intercalated disc. So option number 1 what is given? Cartilage. Cartilage. Option number 2, areolar tissue. Option number 3, smooth muscles. Option number 4, intercalated disc. In between the vertebral column, in between the vertebral disc in the vertebral column, what is present? Cartilage, muscle cartilage. Getting my point? Areolar tissue is found in tendons and it is also found in the memory gland. Sorry, smooth muscle is found in the inner lining of esophagus, small intestine, large intestine. Okay, elementary canal ligation, smooth muscles, stomach. There are some others. There are some other areas also where they are found. Intercalated discs are found in heart muscles. Cartilage will join the vertebrae, the bone of our vertebral column. Part bone. This is known as the vertebrae. So in between the vertebrae, these are the vertebrae. These vertebrae are connected with the hypophyte. Option number 1 is a correct answer. So question number 160 will be option number 1. Now question number 161. Which of the following function is not performed by secretion of salivary glands? Salivary gland secretions. What does it secrete? It secretes salts, it secretes salivary amylase, it secretes xylem, all these things. So option number 1, digestion. You need to find out the incorrect statement, which is not performed by the salivary glands. Salivary juice, that means. Option number 1, digestion of complex carbohydrates. Option number 2, lubrication of oral cavity. Option number 3, digestion of disaccharides. Option number 4, control bacterial population in mouth. You see, our saliva contains salts, salivary amylase, xylenes. Okay, they will help in the mixing of the food with the saliva. They will help in the digestion of carbohydrate, and they will also clean your mouth, and they will prevent your mouth to develop tooth decay. They will also kill the microorganisms like xylem. So option number 1, digestion of complex carbohydrate, correct. Lubrication of oral cavity, correct. Digestion of disaccharide, no, it is not correct. Because salivary amylase, what does it do? You see, salivary amylase they will help in the digestion of carbohydrate, but salivary amylase act upon carbohydrate of food, but that carbohydrate is starch. Starch will be converted into maltose. In our mouth, starch will be converted into maltose. And starch is not a disaccharide. Starch is what? Starch is a complex carbohydrate. Yes, starch is a complex carbohydrate. But starch is a radical supplement. So starch is a complex carbohydrate, but starch is a polysaccharide. In the option it is given that digestion of in our mouth, digestion of disaccharide occurs. No, digestion of polysaccharide occurs. So option number 3 is wrong. They are saying that digestion of disaccharide. It is wrong. Control bacterial population. Yes, it is correct. I told you. So option number 1 to 4 is correct. Is wrong. Answer we need to find out the incorrect statement. So incorrect statement will be option number 3. 161. Answer will be option number 3. Now question number 162. In an E. coli strain, ID gets mutated and its product cannot bind the individual molecule. If growth medium is provided with lactose, what will be the outcome? Okay. Now you will see. This is a lag operant question. So in lag operant, we know there is a ID. This is the ID which will produce a regulatory protein. And it binds with the. This is a promoter. This is operator. This is operator. So this regulatory protein will go and bind with the operator, and it will switch off. It will switch off the operant model. As a result, the genes, there are some factors genes, no? Z, Y, A. These genes are very necessary to convert the lactose into glucose. These genes are very necessary because they will produce. Z gene will produce beta galactosidase enzyme. Then Y gene will produce permease. A gene will produce transcriptase enzyme. And these three enzymes are very necessary for the degradation of lactose into glucose. So bacteria, suppose E. coli, it needs to produce glucose. And in the environment, if lactose is available, if in the surrounding of the E. coli lactose is available, then he needs to take this lactose for food, and he will break down the lactose into glucose. And these three enzymes are very helpful. Suppose permease will allow the lactose to go inside. Beta galactosidase will break down the lactose into glucose, and transacetylase will help in the insertion or will permit the lactose to go consumption. So these three, the product of these three enzymes are very important. So generally what happens when lactose is not available? Then I will produce regulatory protein and it will marks of the operator, and the RNA polymerase cannot bind here because already something is here. As a result, the RNA polymerase will not transcribe these three genes, and as a result, lactose cannot come inside because there is not need. Because if in the environment there is no lactose, so what is the need of producing these three enzymes? What are the enzymes? Beta galactosidase by Z. Y will produce what? Permease. A will produce what? Transacetylase. Transacetylase. So if in the environment there is no lactose, what is the need of producing these three enzymes? Then so the operant model will be switched off. But if in the environment lactose is present, now RNA polymerase has to bind here operator gene. Then RNA polymerase will go here, then there, then there. Then the RNA polymerase will produce what? RNA polymerase will produce Z gene. RNA polymerase will go and it will transcribe and it will produce mRNA from Z gene, and it will produce beta galactosidase enzyme. Y gene, RNA polymerase will go to the I gene, it will produce mRNA, and this one will produce permease enzyme. Then RNA polymerase will go to the A gene, it will transcribe, it will produce mRNA, and then it will produce transcriptase enzyme. Are you getting my point? So if the lactose is available, then small amount of lactose which is already present in the small amount of lactose which is already present in the body, it will go and it will bind with the operator region. It will bind small amount of lactose. It will bind with the regulatory protein, and it will change the regulatory protein. As a result, regulatory protein will not bind here. As a result, operator region will become open, and now RNA polymerase can come and bind because it is necessary. Because RNA polymerase now need to transcribe this gene to produce mRNA and enzymes. Okay, point. So now what happened? The regulatory protein, the I is mutated. Mutation has occurred in the I. As a result, whatever product is produced, allolactose cannot bind because this product is different because I is mutated. As a result, what will happen? Allolactose cannot bind with the regulatory protein. As a result, the regulator protein will go and it will bind here. As a result, all these things, it will get switch off. Lac of iron will become switch off because iodine has produced the regulatory protein. Of course, in the environment lactose is there. E. coli wants to get this lactose. E. coli wants to produce this 3 enzyme, but RNA polymers cannot bind because iodine has produced the regulatory protein. It has binded it. Genetic particles, allolactose will come and it will bind. It will bind to the regulatory protein. It will not allow the regulatory protein to mass change. But now iodine is mutated. Allolactose will not bound to the regulatory protein. As a result, all these things will be switched off. What is the correct answer? Option number A, ZYA genes will be transcribed. ZYA genes will not be transcribed. Are you got it? ZYA genes will not be transcribed. It will be transcribed, but it will not be transcribed. The answer will be option number 2. Now, question number 163. Identify the asexual reproductive structure associated with penicillium. Penicillium will reproduce with the help of what structures? Suppose you see from the penicillium, what we get? Penicillin, the first antibiotic given by Alexander Fleming. No? So this is the penicillin. Penicillin. Penicillin, at the tip of this penicillin has some round structure. This is what? This is the conidia. And when this will fall off from this conidia, new penicillin develops. So answer will be option number 1, conidia. Question number 163. Option number 1. Option number 2 is gametes. Option number 2 is gametes. Question number 2 is given gametes. You know gametes. Which organism will use gametes as the reproductive structure? It is the sponges. Sponges will use gametes as the reproductive structure. Next is birds. Okay, birds involve body, yeast, all these things. And zoospores. Who will use zoospores? Which organisms will reproduce by using zoospores? Like Chlamydomonas. Question number 163. Question number 163 answer will be conidia. Option number 1. Question number 164. 164. If the length of the DNA molecule is 1.1 meter, what will be the approximate number of base pairs? Very easy. Because you see, we know that the length of the DNA very clearly given in your NCERT book. Length of the DNA is 2.2 meter. 2.2 meter. How we get 2.2 meter? You can find out, huh? If you want to find out, length of DNA equal number of base pair into distance between two base pairs. If you know the distance between two base pairs and if you know the number of base pairs, then you can number of base pairs in haploid diploid cell, then easily you can find out the length of DNA. So number of base pairs and distance between base pairs is 0.34 nanometer and total number of base pairs will be how much? Half, because 6 point in a diploid cell, total number of base pairs is how much? 6.6 into 10 to the power 9. Are you getting my point? If you multiply these two, you will get 2.2. But what is saying in the question? The length of the DNA is 1.1. 1.1 means exactly half. Exactly half. The distance between the base pairs will remain same. Either it is haploid or diploid. In a diploid, the total number of base pairs is 6.6. Then in haploid, half it will be 3.3. The answer will be 3.3 into 10 to the power 9. Half. Because you see length is up to 1.1. 2.2 to 1.1. Very easy. So answer will be option number 4. Question number 165. Which of the following is not a connective tissue? Option number 1, adipose tissue. Option number 2, cartilage. Option number 3, neuroglia. Option number 4, blood. Blood is a liquid connective tissue. All of us know. Cartilage is also a connective tissue. We know. Adipose tissue is also a connective tissue. Neuroglia is not a connective tissue. Neuroglia is a cell found in nerve cells. It is found in the nerve cells. Suppose this is the nerve cells. This is a nerve cell. Here you find some cell. It is known as a neuroglia. Neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells are very important for the production of nerve cells. The neuroglial cells for the production of myelin tubes. So neuroglial cells are found in the nerve cells. This is not a connective tissue. Now, so option number 1 is the correct answer. No? Question number 165, option number 1. Question number 166. Question number 166. Okay, question number 166. Two statements are given. Statement number 1. Restriction endonuclease recognize specific sequence to cut DNA known as palindromic nucleotide sequence. Okay, restriction endonuclease recognize specific sequence to cut DNA known as palindromic sequence. Yes, we know. Palindromic sequence, restriction endonuclease will cut in the middle, exonuclease will cut at the terminal end of the DNA, restriction endonuclease will cut in the middle. And where it will cut, those sequences, where it will go from this side to this side or from this side to this side, it will appear the same like Adam. These are the palindromic sequences. MADN, restriction enzyme will cut here. Restriction enzyme will cut here. Okay, statement 1 is correct. Statement number 2. Restriction endonuclease cut the DNA little away from the center of the palindromic sequence. It is correct. Right? You see, restriction enzyme, we know that restriction enzyme will cut in the middle. Means restriction endonuclease. No, one is restriction endonuclease. Suppose DNA. Restriction endonuclease will cut in the middle. And restriction exonuclease. Restriction exonuclease will cut the DNA at the terminal. So there is the restriction endonuclease. So we know that restriction either it is restriction endonuclease or restriction exonuclease. They will cut the palindromic sequences. Palindromic sequences means where if you go from this side to this side or this side to this side, you will get the same sequence. So, but restriction endonuclease will cut at the palindromic sequence, but it will cut from the little away from the center. Always remember. Suppose this is the center, then it will cut here. Here. Little away from the center. So, both statements are correct. Statement 1 and 2 both are correct. Question number 166 is option number. Now, question number 167. 167. Detritivores break down detritus into smaller particles. The process is called detrivorous, means microorganisms which will break the dead body, for example, dead body into small particles and ultimately they will mix the body with the soil. These are the detritivores. Some microorganisms are there. This process is known as what? Fragmentation, decomposition, humidification, or catabolism. Catabolism is a type of chemical reaction where something is broken down to produce energy. So catabolism to hoga hi nahi. Humidification means to add the humus in the upper layer of the soil. Number 3, you know decomposition. What is decomposition? Option number 1 is the correct answer, fragmentation. Because detritivores break down detritus into smaller particles. So smaller particles means smaller fragments. From complex fragments to smaller fragments. The process is known as fragmentation. Option number 1 is the correct answer. Question number 167. Option number 1. Question number 168. Which of the following statements are true for spermatogenesis but do not hold true for oogenesis? Means it is true for spermatogenesis but it is not true for oogenesis. Okay. Question number 1. Option number 1. It results in the formation of haploid gametes. Yes. Either it is oogenesis or spermatogenesis. They will produce the gametes and both the gametes are haploid. Option number A is correct. Number B. Differentiation of gamete occurs after the completion of meiosis. Differentiation of gamete occurs after the completion of meiosis. You see, in spermatogenesis directly, in spermatogenesis meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Okay? In meiosis 1, primary spermatocytes are produced, primary spermatocyte. In meiosis 2, secondary spermatocyte. Then secondary spermatocyte directly sperm should be produced as spermatozoa. Directly. After meiosis division, directly you will get the sperms. But in the oogenesis, it's not like that. In oogenesis, you will, after meiosis 1, then meiosis 2, this is the ovum. In the ovum secondary, means this is the ultimate, this is the Great follicle. Inside the Great follicle, there is what? Inside the Great follicle, there is secondary oocyte. There is secondary oocyte. When the secondary oocyte, when the sperm will come, suppose this is the Great follicle weight. Suppose, okay, the Great follicle has broken down ovulation. Now, this is the Great follicle, broken part, this is the ovum. In the ovum, there is the secondary oocyte. Now, when the sperm will come, the secondary oocyte will perform the meiosis division. When the sperm will come, at the time of the fertilization, the secondary oocyte will perform meiosis division. And at that time, the ovum will become functional and mature. So, differentiation of gamete occurs after the completion of meiosis. It is not true for oogenesis. It is true for spermatogenesis. Question number C. Meiosis occurs continuously in a mitotically dividing meiosis occurs continuously in a mitotically dividing stem cell population. Meiosis occurs continuously in a mitotically dividing stem cell population. No, it is true for spermatogenesis. Meiosis occurs continuously in a mitotically dividing stem cell population. Yes, it is true for the what you can say spermatogenesis, but it doesn't hold true for oogenesis. Question number D. It is controlled by luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary. Okay, it is correct. Either it is spermatogenesis or oogenesis. The development of the follicles in oogenesis, like from primary to secondary, from secondary to tertiary, it will be developed and regulated by these two hormones, follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. In case of here also, spermatogenesis also, the development of spermatogonia into primary spermatocyte and secondary spermatocyte, all this will be regulated by these two hormones, follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So this is true for both. We need to find out which is not true for both. Number E. It is initiated in puberty. You see, spermatogenesis starts at the stage of the puberty, no doubt, when the sex organs become mature, at the age of 12 and at the age of 13 to 14 in case of the boys. But in girl, this oogenesis doesn't start at puberty. It starts the development of their oocytes, the development of the primary oocytes. All these things will get started when they are inside their mother's womb, when the baby is inside their mother's womb inside. So it is not in oogenesis. It is not initiated in puberty. It is initiated at the time of after birth also, and during the time of when they are inside their mother's body, and after the delivery also, after birth, the process still goes on. Before puberty also the process goes on. So answer will be option number B, C, E. Option number B, C, E is correct for spermatogenesis, but it doesn't hold correct for oogenesis. Answer will be option number C. Question number 168. Question number 169. Question number 169. Given below are two statements. Statement 1: fatty acids and glycerols cannot be absorbed into the blood. Yes, this is correct. Because fatty acids and glycerols will be absorbed by the small intestine. Fatty acids and glycerols will be absorbed by small intestine. You know, small intestine has villi. This is the villi. In the villi, you will find some lacteals. These are the lacteals. So these lacteals have some blood capillaries also. There are some lymph vessels also. There are some blood vessels. There are some lymphatic vessels. Okay. So fatty acids and glycerol will be absorbed in the lacteals. These are the lacteals. Okay. Fatty acids and glycerol will be absorbed in the lacteals, and then from the lacteals, they will be given back to the blood by lymphatic vessels. So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2: specialized lymphatic capillaries called lacteals carrying by chylomicrons. Chylomicrons means what? When the fats are digested, then they will produce this structure which is the chylomicrons. So these chylomicrons will be absorbed by the lacteals, by the lymphatic capillaries, and ultimately to the blood. I have told you. So both statements are correct. So option number 4. Option number 4 is the correct answer. Question number 170. If 8 Drosophila in a laboratory population of 80 died during a week, the death rate in a population is dash individuals per Drosophila per week. Okay. So what are they saying? In a laboratory, 8 Drosophila died out of 80. So total how much you see? Total Drosophila is 80. How many died? 8. So what you need to find? You need to find the birth rate, but individual. Birth rate per individual. Yes, but not birth rate, death rate per individual. Because find the death rate in the population, dash individuals. Per individual. So per individual will be 1. If 88, then per individual 1. 8 by 80 will be 0.1. So 0.1 option number 4 is the correct answer. Question number 170. Question number 171. Two statements are given. The coagulum is formed of network of thread of thrombins. Yes. coagulum, blood coagulation will form with the help of the thrombin protein and fibrinogen protein. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, spleen is a graveyard of erythrocytes. Yes, it is also correct. Spleen is a graveyard of erythrocytes. Yes, it is also correct. The coagulum is formed of network of threads called thrombins. This is not correct actually, because it is the coagulum is formed of network of threads called thrombins. No, it is for fibrinogen. The coagulum is formed of network of threads called thrombins. Fibrinogen. It is the coagulum will form by the fibrinogen. Mesh wall, some kind of mesh wall will be formed. Through this mesh wall, blood cells, big blood cells cannot pass out. So coagulation will form. So it will be formed by the fibrinogen protein. Okay. So statement 1 is wrong. Answer will be option number 3. That is statement 1 is incorrect and 2 is correct. Option number 3. Option number 3. Question number 1 is Tegmina in cockroach arises from Tegmina. Tegmina means in cockroach there are 2 wings, no? One is a dark color wings, another one is a light color wings. So suppose this is a cockroach. So this is the thorax. So this is the head. This is the abdomen. From the thorax has 2 parts. Prothorax. 3 parts. I'm sorry. Thorax has 3 parts. Prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. So in prothorax, mesothorax and metathorax. So tegmina will develop from mesothorax. Tegmina will develop from the mesothorax. So this is it is a opaque which will help in the fight. Opaque. Tegmina and opaque develops from the mesothorax. Correct. Yes. Option number 1. Question number 173. In the taxonomic categories, which hierarchical arrangement is ascending order is correct? Very easy. Tell me which one. Kingdom, class. Option number 1. Kingdom, class, phylum, family. No, it is wrong. Number 2. Kingdom, order, class, phylum, family, genus, species. No. 3. Kingdom, order, phylum, class, family, genus, species. No. Kingdom. Yes. Option number 4 is the correct answer. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Question number 173. Option number 4 is the correct answer. Now question number 174. It was very easy. 174. Identify the microorganism which is responsible for the production of immunosuppressive molecule. Cyclosporin A. Class 12. In biology book it is given directly from NCERT. Cyclosporin A. Clostridium butyricum. Option number 1. Option number 2. Aspergillus niger. From where the cyclosporin A is produced? No. Option number 3. Streptococcus cerevisiae. Option number 4. Trichoderma polysporum. Trichoderma polysporum. Cyclosporin A is produced from Trichoderma polysporum. It is a fungus. Okay. Option number 4. Question number 175. Which of the following is not the function of conducting part of respiratory system? Conducting part with nostrils. Our opening to nostrils. Nasopharynx. Nasal passage. Then bronchi, trachea, up to trachea. Trachea, then bronchi, bronchioles. Are getting my point? Up to bronchioles. These are the bronchioles. Trachea, nasopharynx, nostril. Suppose nostril to nostrils. Nasal passage, trachea, to bronchi, then bronchioles. So up to bronchioles, we will inhale air. After inhaling, the air will be filtered. This is the conducting part. In this area, the air will be filtered. The temperature will be maintained. It will be made to our body temperature. It will humidify the air. All these things will take place in the conducting part of the body. Humidification, then killing of the microorganism, then filtering the air, then engulfing the dust particles. All these functions will take part in the conducting part. So what they are saying that which is not the function of the conducting part. So this is the conducting part. You see, up to this much, it is a conducting part. This is a conducting part from alveoli to blood. This is a gaseous exchange part. This is a gaseous exchange part. From alveoli to blood, from blood to the alveoli. This is an exchange part, gaseous exchange part, and this is the conducting part. So what is not the function of the conducting part? Inhaled air is humidified. Yes, it is. Option number 2. Temperature of inhaled air is bound to prevent temperature. It is correct. Provide surface for diffusion oxygen and carbon dioxide. It is wrong, because for diffusion provide the surface it will come under the gaseous exchange part, because the gaseous exchange will take place in the alveoli. So surface area means area for the exchange of gases will be given by the alveoli. So it is not comes under conducting part. Question number 4 or option number 4, it clears in air from foreign particles. Yes, from microorganism. They will clear the microorganism if there is any. So option number 3. Option number 5. Option number 3. You need to find out the incorrect technique. So option number 3 is incorrect technique. Question number 176. 176. Lipase tube is a type of contraceptive. Lipase tube. It is a wall barrier. Option number 1. Option number 2. Non-medicated IUD. Option number 3. Copper releasing IUD. No. Copper releasing IUD. Copper T. Multidose 75B. These things. Cervical barrier. No. Cervical barrier. Cervical barrier will be, there are some diaphragms and all these things. Cervical barrier. Okay. So answer, I think it is a non-medicated IUD. Non-medicated IUD. Option number 2 is the correct answer. Question number 176. Question number 2. So today, let us stop here. Otherwise the video will become very long. So this is the first part of the zoology. It's third part of our NEET paper solving. But you see, today we have discussed the zoology portion. This is the part 1 of the zoology portion from question number 151 to question number 156. And the remaining 25 or 24 questions we will discuss in our later video. So I hope that you have understood and it is beneficial for you. It will be beneficial for you, I hope. Then till then, take care. Bye bye.